Hello, dear viewer. Welcome to yet another episode of Late Night Sets with your host, the Purple Sharpie. I'm here with international guest all the way from Egypt, Linz. How are you doing today, Linz?
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much again for being here on such last notice. Now, Linz, tell us a little bit more about yourself. We know you're a Street Fighter V player. We know you compete inside of Street Fighter VI, but tell us a little bit more about how you got into fighting games and why you decided to stay inside of the Street Fighter VI community specifically.
I started playing Street Fighter V like 8 years ago, approximately. I think I started playing just for fun when I started. And by playing a lot, knowing players from my region, knowing my local exist, and just more playing got me competitive, and just playing more and more made me realize I want to compete. And once I started having that feeling, I just kept going, and it all went up from there. I had my moments in Street Fighter V. I joined the Interworld Open in 2021. It was my first ever tournament, and I placed top 8, I think, in it, and it was really good moment for me to have not just a country representation, it's also a region representation, and it felt really good to have it, and I'm looking forward to more opportunities like this in the future.
So you did actually state inside of that previous answer that you competed inside of the 2021 Intel World Open for Street Fighter V. Specifically, you played against Amu inside of round 1, which is a Pakistan connection, which approximately 3,763 kilometers are between you guys, and for our viewers, that's 2,338 miles. And inside of your second match, you actually played against Dark Sword, who's also a Northern African player. He's based inside of Morocco, and that distance is 36,095 kilometers, otherwise known as 2,200 miles, which is approximately the distance between California and Chicago. Talk to us a little bit more about how that experience playing inside of the Intel World Open was, and talk to us a little bit more about your specific experience between the connection with you and Amu, which was the Egypt to Pakistan connection.
I think the event itself was a really pleasure to have, and the connection with Amu was not the best because he was outside North Africa, and Pakistan and Egypt, as you said, really far away. And yeah, the connection wasn't helping to deliver the best performance, but yet we still delivered a really good match among like the circumstances we can play. And yeah, I think we played our best in the connection we have, even though it can get better if we play in a better connection, which is the case with Dark Soul. He is from North Africa, so Morocco and Egypt are not far away. We can play with a good connection, and my experience with him in Interworld Open was really good. I think it can get better eventually once I compete with the North African region, just Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia. If we play each other for eligible slot in CPT, for example, we can deliver a really good performance and represent the region, not just as a country as a whole.
So I think it's actually really interesting that you state, playing inside of even just Northern Africa is a fantastic experience, because Capcom actually invited you to play on one of their platforms for the Capcom Play streams, specifically the program Sets, where you played a 1st to 10 versus MC Mura, and that was commentated by talents like Jammers and a few other European commentators. What was that experience like, and how did it feel to finally be in some way, shape, or form on an official Capcom circuit or an official Capcom platform?
It was an amazing experience to play with my friend MC Mura, and also a pleasure to have this kind of performance among the Capcom channel, with also talking with Veggie, Olvaha, and Jammers, who are also amazing players and amazing interviewers. We talked about the game, we had conversation about it, and it was one of my most enjoyable night I ever had. And also we delivered a really cool performance. Like the score was 10-9. We had really close performance. I think more opportunities like this will help the region, and yeah, I think it was really cool to have this kind of experience.
How do you feel the netcode differs between Street Fighter V and Street Fighter VI? Do you feel like it's more stable? Do you feel like there's less leniency? What are your thoughts on it as a whole?
It's definitely more stable in Street Fighter 6. Back in Street Fighter 5, it was not stable at all, so we barely got any chance to play in tournaments. So Egypt is far from Europe, like it's hard to play with them in tournaments. But in Street Fighter 6, the netcode actually helping us in this matter. We can play with other Europeans in their tournaments, and they allow us. And we have a lot of North African players who places top 8 consistently, including me, and we actually win it. We win their tournaments, and I think by that is helping the region growing up more, playing in their tournaments, just sparking the region that there is tournaments actually we can compete in. More tournaments means reviving the region, which will lead to having a really competitive region among the Street Fighter community.
Speaking of competing, especially with European players, you actually placed first inside of a local called Bloodsport, where you actually had contestants like Ryan Hart also competing, a very well-known Tekken and Street Fighter player from the older years, obviously. And you've also placed second inside of NCHEU Weekly number 86, which is an event specifically hosted online inside of Europe. Talk to us a little bit more about these events, in addition to you also being the top ranking specifically when it comes to this Capcom split.
I think it's amazing, first of all, and Reinhardt is a really good player. I also talked with him once I played him in tournaments and ranked. I get to talk with him about the game, and we have really good conversation about the game. I think by that itself, having interactions with other regions and such a known figure as Reinhardt is a pleasure to me, and also adding up to my experience of playing the game at the topest level. It's just amazing, and also winning it, but winning it adds more exciting to it, as I can be the best of the best, and I always look forward to win more. I'm never satisfied by winning a single weekly. I'm just looking, oh, I won, so I just want to be consistent as much as I can, so I can deliver the same performance in CBT tournament or EVO or any global tournament I get to play in.
How does it feel being number one ranking inside of the Capcom online leaderboards this specific split because of your Guile?
Yeah, I kept playing ranked in this phase, and the previous one I run into European players in ranked as well. As I also play top players as Hurricane almost every day in rank. He is also a really good friend of mine. We play a lot in ranked. I play other European players as well. They know me in Egypt as like one of the best Guiles in Egypt, and also in their region as well. They come to me to practice against the character, and they think I'm one of the best of players among my character players as well. And this is also a really pleasure to me, like the feeling of players knows me from other region and comes to me to ask me for matchup knowledge, and playing with me by itself is actually helping the community more and helping the region recognition, and I love it.
So let's get into the reason that kind of started and sparked this entire interview. Earlier this week, you actually tweeted specifically stating that you're one of the top players currently inside of your region, you're at the top of leaderboards, but you specifically called out Capcom fighters, stating, "We're not allowed to enter Capcom Pro Tour, and we don't have one for our region, specifically Northern Africa. I'm speaking for myself and for the whole region. Please consider giving us an eligible spot." This statement was actually kind of amplified by two people very well known inside of the Street Fighter scene, specifically Damascus and Big Bird both use their Twitter platforms to also kind of elevate that conversation and hopefully get more eyes on it. I'd like to ask this question. What are you actually asking Capcom to do, and what is the best way that you feel to support your region in an international manner?
I'm asking Capcom to provide a competitive region to us in CBT. Like they add almost every 2 slots for each region to qualify for their biggest tournament, which is Capcom Cup. I think if they do the same for North African players, would also not just the game, but the region of developing more players. I think if we get 2 players or slots for the region playing each other in North African players would be more fair just to leave them out of the tournaments at all. Like, we are not allowed to play in any sort of CBT tournament, and we don't have one to play, so we just watching players qualify and play in Capcom Cup, and we can do nothing about it. So it would be really nice if we have a CBT qualifier for North Africa, so we can show the world we actually exist and develop as a community, beside providing the best gameplay as much as we can for the whole world.
So I'm really happy that you brought up Capcom Cup, specifically because in 2023, Capcom Cup got tremendous marketing information and kind of blew up, specifically because of the prize pool that they had, which was $1 million United States dollars currency. How could a pot like that transform a life of someone inside of Northern Africa? And to be honest, not even the $1 million prize pool, but even possibly a 16th place pot pool, which was approximately $10,000 United States dollars. How could that help someone inside of your region, or specifically inside of your community?
It will help a lot. The money is really a lot to us, but I think if we gonna do traveling to the Capcom Cup and play among the best players in the world, our main goal is to be the best, to win and be first places as much as we can. I think the money helps, yes, but it's not our main goal at all. It's about the region, putting our region on the map, telling the world we have players that can compete and be the best players possibly as we can, and we can always do damage in big tournaments. And yes, and this is all mainly about having us as a chance to compete. It's not mainly about taking part of the financial money. It's just about having the opportunity to have this feeling of being able to compete is just amazing, and to have this feeling of being able to play against best players in the world, not just online, in human, like face to face, is a dream for every competitive player, and also winning it would be a dream as well. So having the chance of being able to win such a tournament would make the region a lot positive about playing. They will always look forward to win such a tournament. They will always feel, if they got improved today, maybe I will win Capcom Cup, maybe I will qualify for that tournament. This by itself will improve the community, and they will be active every single day. I think we're already active every single day, but it will make us more active, and just the spark by itself is gonna be healthy for the community.
Linz, thank you so much for expanding on that point. It's very obvious to me that this, especially representation, matters, and I think you are a fantastic and prime example about why international representation matters. Before we go ahead and close up the podcast, I do want to ask, is there anyone you'd like to shout out inside of your local, regional, or major scene as someone that has helped you not only get in the scene, but also continues to showcase the best that your region has to offer today?
I would like to shout out my local. We run a monthly tournament in Egypt called Faris Fest, and we meet up every single month. We talk about the game. We have a tournament, and I win it mostly. And I think we have the conversation about the game. Just like really positive to me every single month. And I like also to shout out, like, I think the second best player like after me is Shiko. He is really good and passionate about the game, and also really talented. I think I'm not far beyond, like, above him in the skill level. He can always beat me if he have a good day. So I would say check him out. He is a really good player and very, very passionate about the game.
Linz, thank you so much again for taking time today to talk to us about why representation matters and hopefully how we can best help Northern Africa showcase their skills in Street Fighter. Thank you again.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Everybody, that does it for this episode of Late Night Sets with your host, The Purple Sharpie. As always, if you'd like to support us, make sure that you're following my podcast, FGC Cast, on literally all social media platforms, and that you leave us a 5-star rating on not only Spotify, but also Apple Podcasts. It really helps. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you offline.